When women talk about, the Me Too era, when they talk about the lack of respect that a lot of men have towards them, you can directly correlate it to the type of attitude that is espoused by somebody like Andrew Tate. Somebody like him does not respect women. In fact, he probably hates women, as do a lot of other men. And I think that's the big lesson here. Yeah, it's a big deal, obviously, that he's been arrested for sex trafficking. And I have no doubt that he did it. You don't bring in the federal authorities unless you got something pretty ironclad. And apparently he kind of did it to himself. This was a cell phone of the worst kind, in which because he kept going back after Greta, they were able to catch him. Evidently, the federal authorities caught him because they identified a local pizzeria in a place that they recognized and were somehow able to track him down. So he and his brother, Andrew Tate, or his brother Tristan Tate, excuse me, are going down for sex trafficking, which is not entirely shocking here, because evidently, the reports were that Andrew Tate's net worth was over $350 million, which just seems so unconscionable that how could somebody have possibly done or gotten such numbers? And so evidently what he was doing, he and his brother, were sexually exploiting women, some local, many apparently from different potential parts of Europe, even parts of the United States that were there visiting. Whatever the circumstances were, they were able to convince these women to come work for him. And with the promise of working on OnlyFans, this is an OnlyFans front, if you will. And the money was exceptional. And especially for a lot of people who are desperate financially, especially these days, the promise of making tens of thousands of dollars a month is very, very intoxicating for people that are in need of money. When you go from not having much to having a lot, there's a lot of things you'll be willing to overlook. So it appears that a lot of these women were exploited, and he was exploiting them to the tune of making hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit every single month. Some were suggesting in excess of $500,000 a month, which is just unreal. And that's only the beginning. Apparently, this guy is some type of a hero to the incel community that permeates through the dark web, through a lot of different platforms that a lot of people don't normally go to. But there are a lot of people out there that are very, very unhappy. There's a lot of men out there that are very unhappy, perhaps because they have a hard time getting a date. Perhaps they do not have very good interpersonal communication skills when it comes to the opposite sex. You can harbor a lot of resentment, a lot of anger. And I have seen, I've been familiar with Andrew Tate for quite some time. This is not like this just happened yesterday. I've known about Andrew Tate for probably a couple of years. And what I can remember is just some of the video clips that have been circulating for many, many months regarding his attitudes towards women, talking about women like their property, talking about women that they can be hit and should be hit, and that cheating on them is an acceptable practice because they are your property. And he has built quite a following. His social media reach is in the millions, and his paid, fans, if you will, if you want to call them that, call them sycophants, more like it. But those particular individuals, I heard the number was in excess of over 50,000. And again, that's around the world. And in the grand scheme of how many people there are around the world, may not seem like a lot. But imagine getting 50,000 people, 50,000, we'll say sexually frustrated men for the most part, giving you money for the purpose of living a lifestyle that people can't even begin to comprehend. And then with it comes this mistreatment of women. And, during the Me Too era, it was just so easy to, go after. There were so many people who took advantage of the circumstance, whether it was for, the ability to get ahead there's a lot of things people will do. Much like the almighty dollar, there are things that people will say and do in order to get that money. But don't think for a second that there isn't a serious problem in this country and around the world when it comes to abusing women. I've seen it in person. I've worked in the nightclub industry. I've had some questionable friends over the years. You need to use the word friend lightly, or stretching the word quite a bit. One thing I would definitely tell you, it really is amazing just how violent men can be towards women. It is amazing how much encouragement there is for people like Andrew Tate. One of the last tweets that I saw Andrew Tate put out was a conversation he had with a fellow mixed martial arts fighter. I think his name is Francis, if I remember correctly. And basically just talking about how, you need to smash, Greta Thunberg. And it's this objective treatment of women as lesser, as expendable. And when you are a person who is frustrated at life for one reason or another, whether it is because of your lack of dating conquests, ability to keep a relationship, to have a relationship, or to even be sexually active in any capacity. For those who are not able to do that, it's very easy to emulate or gravitate towards somebody like Andrew Tate, who says the things that a lot of these men are thinking. The frustration, the anger, the resentment, it all comes to the surface. And it comes to the surface at various types of people. Andrew Tate made a colossal mistake by going after somebody who knew how to hit back. Andrew Tate is a bully. He is not an alpha male. There are plenty of men who learn how to fight, and they do it for the wrong reasons. He is very likely, if they have the goods, even if he is extremely wealthy, all that dirty money that he's made from sex trafficking and exploitation of women in every sense of the word. Sex trafficking is a very serious crime. And because there is the likelihood that this is international crime, he may very well be going down for a very long time. And if all the stars align, he could be going down for the rest of his life. And that's pretty serious. And the only reason the only reason he got caught is because he bit off more than he can chew. And just think, he didn't have any reason to poke the bear at Greta Thunberg. What was the purpose? There was no rhyme or reason for him to do that. But he did it. And now he's going to pay dearly for it. It's one thing to get habitually embarrassed on social media. And boy, did he. But that wasn't enough. That was nowhere near enough. He had to get it even worse. And he did. It is the greatest self-own maybe ever. But remember, the key to this conversation is not so much about Andrew Tate and about the things that he says, because that is obviously a big deal. But the bigger deal is how many people listen to him and agree with what he says. There are things going around the internet right now that are more or less, when it comes to his defenders, saying that this was a hoax, or it was the word is slipping me right now. That he was basically, it was entrapment. Yeah, people believe what they believe. I've had friends tell me stories over the years that I still can't believe to this day. I had a friend once tell me a story that even to this day, I still don't believe him when he says that it was consensual. I believe that he and 3 other guys gang raped a girl that I knew. No, I wasn't there. I can't prove it. But knowing the girl, you don't really know the person. I mean, yeah, I knew her as a friend, but I just, when I heard the story, I didn't believe it. I said, yeah, I believe it happened, but I don't believe that this was what this person wanted. Not for a second. Everyone has their fantasies. Everyone dabbles in different things sexually. I totally get that. But there are just way too many instances that go unreported, that never see the light of day, especially in the legal system, for the things that women have to go through. And they go through quite a bit. And Andrew Tate became a very rich man. He made quite a bit of money, to be fair, through advertising and being a champion in mixed martial arts. But make no mistake whatsoever that the lion's share of his fortune was made through sexual exploitation of women. There are reports of rape, and there will be much more that will come out. And the worst case scenario here is that Andrew Tate might not get any trail time because he may have a black book that is longer than anyone could possibly imagine. If Andrew Tate is looking at 30 years to life in federal prison as a result of sex trafficking, and he's got the goods on the highest of high echelon people in society that were basically very similar to what was going on Jeffrey Epstein's island. You know, it's always funny when those types of stories happen and everyone thinks, oh my God, this is such a horrific set of circumstances, and which they are. But much like Bernie Madoff, do you think those are the only ones going on? Those are just the ones that got caught. Most of the time, they don't get caught. Andrew Tate's a big fish, and now he's been caught. And do I think that he's probably got a lot of information on a lot of powerful people? Yeah, probably. And it will be very interesting to see what is going to happen.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.